of Genesis is where God began the beginning. The book of Genesis is where God started the start. In the book of beginning is the place where God started time from a timeless zone. So let's begin straight away by talking about the book of Genesis. I want to concentrate on Genesis chapter 1 and 2 and maybe touch on chapter 3 a little bit. And the reason why I've chosen that this morning is because, first of all, as I made a mention to you, it is the book of beginnings. It's like a foundational block on which we should build our life on. Remember, chapter number 1 and chapter number 2, for a lack of a better term, is the perfect chapters in the Bible. What do I mean by perfect chapters? I mean that was the two chapters which gives us an account of what God created, and sin was not even there in the picture. In Genesis chapter 3, we are introduced to Satan and we are introduced to sin. And therefore, if you look at Genesis chapter 1 and chapter 2, to me, I believe it is the foundation on which life should be built. And because it is the book of beginnings, every spiritual and theological doctrine originates from Genesis chapter 1 and Genesis chapter 2. Simply because it's the book of beginnings. Every system, every mechanism, every engine that is in place spiritually has got its roots in Genesis chapter 1 and Genesis chapter 2. And so if you look at that, you will see in Genesis chapter 1 and chapter 2, nothing but pure worship, pure fellowship between God and man. And so we're introduced to various concepts in just Genesis chapter 1 and 2. And let's pick up a couple of them right this morning. First of all, let's read Genesis chapter 1, verse number 1. Remember this, we are reading the perfect chapters without any sin in 1 and 2. And if you see any other chapter or any other book following Genesis chapter 3, it is only a book of restoration. It's a book of restoration. Everything the Lord has done from Genesis chapter 3 onwards basically is a book of restoration. He wants to bring us back to our former place. And so Genesis chapter 1 and chapter 2, my brother, my sister, if you get this foundation right, if you get this building block right, I'm telling you, we can never go wrong. It's a perfect foundation. Let me go straight into Genesis chapter 1, verse number 1. There are so many concepts. Let us see with the Spirit's help how much we can go on even today. The Bible says, in the beginning. That's the word for you, that the Berishith is the word which says in the beginning. So God began the beginning. In other words, it was nobody else. It was not the Big Bang, but it was God. Today we see science books teach us that there was a Big Bang billions of years ago, and this Big Bang caused this world to come into existence. My brother, my sister, I want to tell you, the Lord has imprinted very clearly that in the beginning it was God. It was not the Big Bang which caused the earth to come into form, but it was God who caused it to come to pass. In the beginning, God. In the first 5 words we had introduced to God himself. And today, I'm telling you, this is the key. God has to begin everything in your life and everything in my life. God began the beginning. As a matter of fact, Genesis chapter 2, reading verse number 4, the Bible says, this is the history of the heavens and the earth when they were created. Therefore, we are going back to the history of God's creation.